Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Unwatched pile. Get that popcorn.
Nice. Nom, 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 nom.
Welcome to the Unwatched pile, Halloween edition.
Oh, nice. That's your own personal sound effect.
Yeah, I know.
Well done.
You're welcome. I'm Stephen Billings, of course, with Andrew Cabral here. No guest this week. Figured we just go stag together. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's not really stag.
Not really, but
It's a duo instead of a trio.
Yeah. Usually we would like to bring a guest on the Unwatched pile, which if you've not listened or watched the Unwatched pile, what it is a show where we go into our physical media collections and we pick out the films that we have not watched yet. I know that's a weird concept for some people, but us collectors, we get a little crazy and we buy a bunch of stuff we haven't seen because it looks cool or it's been recommended by friends. So we just like, oh, I just want that. And so we get it, and sometimes they just sit around, you just don't have time, or you watch other things, and you just don't get around to that movie. So this is the show where we finally get around to it. We pick one of them films, we watch it, we come on here to discuss, and then we go back into our collections, find a movie to pair that new movie with, and have fun with it. It's like an easy double feature show. But along with that tonight, usually, the third person helps fill out this show a little more, but because we have a little extra time, usually when it's just me and Andrew, we usually do like a little extra thing. And because it's Halloween, kind of going along with the idea of this show where you do a double feature, well, we're going to give you both of us are going to give you our own all night Halloween marathon lists, of how we would curate our own Halloween marathons. And they're actually timed out. Like it's going to be like from 7 at night till 7 in the morning, roughly.
So like a 12-hour time frame, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Stephen. I don't know. I know your life has rapidly changed over the last few years, but I still do a horror movie Halloween marathon myself. I don't know if you used to do it back in your more open schedule days, but I still do it every year. There's certain staples that I do every year. I try to incorporate at least one or two of them into this type of format.
Yeah.
But I still do it every year. I'm probably going to end up starting it after the show, coincidentally.
Yeah. Well, I don't do all-nighters. I can't even stay up till midnight to watch something sometimes. Like I can't do it anymore.
That's why I referenced your younger days, your freer schedule days.
I'm 35 years, 30, God, I'm almost 37 years old. What am I saying? I'm almost 37 years old. I'm not old. I just wear
with the way your life is, with the family and work and stuff like that, it's a little bit hard to do those things now.
I'm just wearing out. I'm just worn out by the time we get to that time of the night. So I'm no longer a night owl. And honestly, I think no more than 3 movies in a row I'd probably be like, okay, that's enough. But if I'm feeling crazy and, you got friends, you bring your friends over, you do a party, you get pizza, you get popcorn and
candy, chocolate.
Yeah. You get
pre-Halloween stuff.
Yeah. You get the energy going. So that can get the adrenaline going that keeps you up longer. So
yeah, you got to get that caffeine in you.
Yeah,
where you need it.
We're gonna
energy drinks, whatever you prefer.
No energy drinks.
Well, not for me. I'm just saying people like them in general. The young people.
Celsius. I sell it. I sell it, so I know. But we are going to get into our movie marathons later in the show after we've done the normal programming here on the Unwatched pile. So watch out for that. Stick around, please, and jump in the comments. Tell us about what you think of our marathons as we go along. Please tell us, some of what you would pick. Maybe kind of follow along. Tell us what you would put in each slot, if you got some ideas. But yeah, let's do this thing. We're gonna we got some people in the chat. We got Mike here saying, "Hey boys, what's up, Mike?" Acre of Movies popping in saying hello. And would you rather go on the dark ride for Witches of Eastwick or Lady in White?
I don't know, Witches of Eastwick, just because I like witches.
Yeah, I was gonna say witches, probably. Yeah.
And what is interesting, Witches of Eastwick, the movie and the book are rather different. So I don't know how they would theme that ride. I'm assuming for the movie, because you got to get the, the celebrities on the poster and the celebrities in the ride and stuff. I'm thinking of like a Disney World type of ride. You sit in a
Yeah.
little roller coaster thing there, and you go through like witch stuff. There's
Witch
all kind
witch
of
stuff.
yeah, witch stuff.
Well, we might get into witch stuff later, so we'll see. But and the closest thing I get to witch stuff probably tonight is this Hocus Pocus,
Nice.
which is I'm not even really that big of a fan of the movie. It's literally just the only Halloween mug I have. It's my wife's, so I was just like, I will use it, and I'm wearing my Vinegar Syndrome pumpkin shirt.
Nice. Nice. I've
So
got Universal Monsters, like a lot like a lineup you would get at a police station.
nice. I
It's
like
got
it.
all of them. This was actually bought by my cousin in Salem, Massachusetts,
There
coincidentally,
you go.
years
Witches.
ago at Count Orlok's store. I don't know if it's a store or a wax museum or something like that in Salem, Massachusetts, which is like an hour and a half from me.
Yeah.
It is the biggest tourist spot in the region this
Oh
time
yeah.
of year.
Shit.
It's
Fuck
just
yeah.
crazy over there.
People come from other states to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend was married there. That just shows you how big of a like
Yeah.
destination that place is.
Oh yeah. Well,
Um,
Acre of Movies is already jumping in, saying The Frighteners is in the list, and also Wolfen, man.
Frighteners, I still think is like criminally underrated as a horror movie,
Oh
or
yeah,
just as like a Halloween centric horror movie.
Michael J. Fox,
Michael J. Fox, it's a Peter Jackson movie.
Peter
I know
Jackson.
when people
Yeah.
think of Peter Jackson, they think of like Brain Dead, Dead Alive, typically. But Frighteners, he did in like the early '90s, and it's like a pretty solid ghost movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's get into normal programming first. Andrew's going to start us off with
Okay.
his unwatched film.
Yes. So my unwatched movie is something I've had in my collection for probably 3 years. 3 years or so. It came out 4 years ago, so I'm a little bit within range, I guess. This is Alejandro Jodorowsky's Santa Sangre. Now, this is the 4K UHD edition from Severin. This is probably the first Severin Films edition I ever bought.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure it is. I got into them more as we started doing Chasing Labels, as we started covering their releases and their announcements. We had Andrew Furtado, who works over at Severance still to this day. We had him on Chasing Labels 4 times. So we got to talk to him a lot about all kinds of stuff. And Severin, of course, is no stranger to the movie collecting community. Every year, people get super hyped for their Severin sales and whatever other sales they have and their releases and all that kind of stuff. But Santa Sangre, they had released on Blu-ray, I think, back in 2011. And then like 10 years later, they released a super deluxe 4-disc collection, I believe. Yeah, 4-disc collection of this Alejandro Jodorowsky film from 1989. Steven, is that a good year or not?
You know it is.
It's some may believe it's the best year. And this is like I said, a 3-disc edition. It's got a UHD, a Blu-ray, and then I think a third Blu-ray disc with just special features. And the 4th disc is a CD soundtrack, which Severin loves to
They
do.
love to do that, yeah.
And this is it's a tough movie to describe. It is so many different things. And going into this, I was expecting weirdness because if you know anything about Alejandro Jodorowsky, his movies are weird. They're super surreal. They're incredibly unique to his own wacky, crazy vision, if you will. And he's one of those big time surreal filmmakers in the same vein of like a David Lynch, Louis Buñuel, Nicholas Winding Refn, um, uh, Lars von Trier, Gaspar Noé, Werner Herzog is another one. They're all in kind of that same realm of super unique avant-garde art house cinema. And this movie is one of his most well known. And to be honest, after watching it, I can understand why. I thought it was brilliant. Um, and it was actually way more straightforward than I thought, but with a lot of surrealism in it and a combination, a mishmash of all kinds of elements. Like I said, surrealism, but it's also a slasher film. It's a psychological drama. It's a familial drama. It's kind of all of those things. And what is so fascinating about this movie is you could almost watch this film without any sound to pick up the dialogue, and you can see what's going on. It's so visually masterfully when it comes to storytelling. So this movie is about this character who is in a mental hospital. I believe this takes place in Mexico. I believe Alejandro Jodorowsky is Mexican, or at least from that area of the world. And this movie is actually in English, so it's an English language film. And you start off with a bit of a framework of this person who's in a mental hospital, and then you see flashbacks of his life. You see flashbacks of him as a child and the trauma that he went through as a child and why it is affecting him as an adult. And what you see is that he grew up in this traveling circus carnival type of thing where his father was a knife thrower and I think his mother was a like a trapeze artist, something like an aerialist. And you also meet a bunch of kind of the other people, weird people within the circus. Like there's this incredibly attractive tattooed woman here. There's all kinds of like, you know, uh, little people and clowns and all this kind of weird stuff. And this kid grows up and his act is he's a magician. He's like a child magician. That's his act. So what ends up happening is also his mother runs a Christian cult, a
Mm.
Christian cult that is that worship a woman that they believe was a saint who I believe was kind of persecuted and killed a long time ago, and they worship her as like this saint, this godly being. They're adversarial to the local church and the local religion, Christianity, I assume, because of geographically where they're located. And his mother's leading this cult, so he's kind of wrapped up in that as well. And needless to say, traumatic and crazy things happen in his childhood that he witnesses, like graphic violence and stuff like that, and it impacts him as an adult. But when he becomes an adult, he's still kind of entrapped in his mother's grasp mentally. Mentally, she has a hold over him, and she manipulates him, and she makes him do things like killing people that she just wants dead. So he becomes essentially a victim of circumstance, her weapon of choice, if you will. And that's kind of what the movie's about. But there's so much style, so much richness in this film in terms of filmmaking and things like that. I was really captivated by it. This is my type of movie, needless to say. Um, on the Yeah, it's there's so much more details I can get into, but I don't want to spoil it. I want people to discover this for themselves. But yeah, I don't know why I waited so long to watch it. I think I was just mentally trying to prepare myself for the Alejandro Jodorowsky film because his previous movies, The Holy Mountain and El Topo, are known to just like really mentally fry your brain. So I'm like, I gotta be in that right type of mood to to go to that type of movie and go to that type of space. And apparently I was because I dug this movie a lot. So yeah, I'm happy I finally watched it. I'm happy I got this in the collection. I think this may be out of print by now and there may be a standard edition available. I'd have to check up on that. But this edition specifically is loaded with like 8 hours of special features, which is kind of incredible, and a lot of it directly from Alejandro Jodorowsky, who is still with us, still alive, and still I think making movies. Um, I got to get more of his stuff in my collection. I have a Alejandro Jodorowsky box set that was put out here and in the UK. And that has El Topo, Holy Mountain, etc. etc. Fando Elise, I think, is in that as well. But I got to get more of his other stuff. He's big into um like magic and stuff like that, like tarot readings and that type of mysticism and whatnot. So he
Yeah.
incorporates a lot of that into his movies, and you can definitely see it in here. There's some magic, supernatural stuff happening in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Steven, you said beforehand that you had tried watching this one time
I
and
tried.
couldn't make your way through it.
I don't know if it was just not for me. I mean, maybe it was one of them things where it was probably just not, I wasn't the right time. Like you
Mm,
said, you get being ready for it. But also, just sometimes I'll start something and things start happening even before I had a kid, like I get distracted and I'm just like, this ain't happening tonight. Like it
yeah, you got to be in the right frame of mind
I gotta have
for
the right
certain movies, man.
everything. Yes,
You
yeah.
really do, especially when you're dealing with avant-garde surrealism, stuff like that. Like you can't just pop into certain movies all the time.
Yeah.
At least for me, I can't.
No. And you know, movies like this require attention. Like if you're not like actually like in for like being completely focused on whatever you're watching, you can't just passively kind of watch it. Then there's no reason to even go with a movie
Yeah,
like
you
this.
want to be able to fully appreciate something, being locked in the moment, and it's tough, like you're saying, Steven. There's so many distractions around us, um, that it's easy to just get sidetracked. Like your phone
Yeah.
rings with a
Phone,
notification, or you start
phone,
thinking of something else,
yeah.
or whatever, or something else pops up. Someone starts talking to you in the middle of watching a movie. It's like,
Yeah.
can't you see I'm busy here?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of them things where I got to get around to it myself. But you've actually made me like feel a little more comfortable because I didn't realize this was an English language film. So that I mean, like I'm not against foreign language films, but it does make it a little less intimidating to know that I don't have to read this movie.
Yeah, there
Uh,
is a Spanish language track on here, but I don't that's not the original language.
yeah.
And you can sometimes tell that if you pay attention, you see people's like lips moving and it's the
Yeah.
words look like they're the proper words. It's like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That screws around me a lot when I think of Giallo and Gialli films because those are like notorious for having bad English dubs or weird English dubs, and they're supposed to be watched like that. Like that's the
Yeah.
intention of it. So those screw me up sometimes. Uh, but yeah, Santa Sangre, good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Makes me want to watch all of his other movies now.
Yeah. Well, maybe you add that into your marathon tonight. Probably not.
Mm.
So my film, and this also gets covered in our recent Criterion review. If you want to go to the channel, you can you can see me and Andrew do Blu-ray reviews for 3 recent Criterion releases, and one of them is the Ken Russell film, 1980s Altered States. This is a film that I'd been hearing about for a long time. I was aware of Ken Russell, had seen a couple of his films and knew what type of director he was. And this one had always been kind of on the list. Like I was like, William Hurt is awesome. I've always really liked him as an actor. And now finding out that this was actually his debut film, I was super intrigued by it. So getting this Criterion was awesome. And, watching it for the first time, it's definitely got a lot of ideas in it. I think one of Ken Russell's strong suits, of course, is his visual style. He's got his own unique style of especially when it comes to the horror aspects. Because when they were getting this movie together, there was 2 different visions for this movie. Like there was the writer's vision, which was a little bit more on the dramatic side, and what Ken Russell brought to it, which was the kind of psychedelic, crazy science stuff, and there's body horror in here. It's an interesting film. I don't know that I loved it. I think it was like it's solid. Like it's like 3.5 star movie out of 5. Like I liked it, but yeah. So William Hurt plays like a scientist. He is specifically gotten into like deprivation tanks where you essentially just float in water. Your mind, there's no sound. There's just you in a tank, and your mind kind of, because it's so quiet, it kind of drifts off into these other states of being. And it's the movie's about how they kind of dive deeper and deeper into that idea, and it has its own interesting ramifications. And along with that, the movie's got themes of kind of man's purpose, our purpose in life. What are we here for? Like, there's one half of William Hurt that wants to have like the normal life, that wants to have kids, wants to have a wife, but then he in his heart of hearts he feels pulled to pushing himself and learning about life at its purest, and going back to the beginning, and that sends him kind of down a very extreme, weird rabbit hole. Um, and so it's an interesting film. I'm hoping I can appreciate it more with another viewing, but I found it on a first time watch to be a little wonky. But you've also seen it, Andrew.
Yeah, we talked about it pretty in depth yesterday or last night on our Criterion, you know, reviews for stuff from October. And yeah, after seeing it a second time, and kind of knowing what it is going into it, you can kind of dig deeper into a lot of the things that's going on with it. Like, but it is kind of like you said, the movie is trying to be two different, or at least battling within itself, trying to be two different things. It's trying to be this scientific, crazy, surreal type of movie, but also trying to have dramatic, more straight lined elements in it with a whole like family storyline and relationship storyline. And initially, I thought that those two things like didn't really like make sense, that they would just wedge them in there together. But once you get to the climax of the movie, it makes more sense as to why it is, because the movie does end up being kind of a battle for humanity at the
You
end
know,
of it all.
you know what that ending reminded me of, and it kind of gave me the same reaction as this other film. And this isn't my pairing. This is something else. But like, because at the end of the spoiler alert for people that haven't seen Altered
Spoiler
State.
alert.
Spoiler alert. So at the end, like, essentially, he gets affected. Like in the movie, they get kind of like William Hurt gets like randomly like zapped back into like one of his altered state of beings or whatever, and then like he infects his wife with it, and they're both kind of like fighting for their life, and then they come together and like save each other basically, or he saves her, and they like he like. And he's like, in that moment, he realizes that he really loves her.
That's the whole humanity thing of it all. Yeah.
And so that reminded me of kind of how I think people felt when they saw Interstellar.
Oh,
You know,
I didn't get that connection.
but
This
that,
idea, yeah.
because the
Okay.
movie is this hard science movie, and it's, you don't know where you're going with it until you get to the moment where you realize that they get to the end and they're like, so once again, spoiler alert for Interstellar. They're like he finds himself basically in like an ability to go physically look through time.
Yeah, he's in like the fourth or fifth dimension.
Yeah. And so there's this whole, with the Anne Hathaway character and everything, there's this whole like idea that love transcends time and space kind of thing.
What binds us and what connects us as beings is love, which I think is incredibly powerful. But I do like that connection. That's really, really good.
I know it's a pairing I just thought about right now.
But I thought you were going to bring up the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey,
no.
because it gets super trippy there at the end. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but that just made me think about how that I feel like that in Altered States them ideas, them elements of the film kind of feel like I wouldn't say shoehorned in, but like just like they don't feel as important as one would think they are through the whole film.
Yeah, they're not as developed as they need to be as impactful as the movie portrays it to be.
Yeah, it feels like in the last third of the movies when finally
that's why you have to really think about it.
Yeah. I mean, even in Interstellar, I feel it's the same thing. It's like it doesn't really come across as impactful, I think, and this is why people had the reaction they had to it. They were like, "That's lame. Love? Oh, love is what transcends time.
People are stoned.
That's just so sappy."
Hearts.
And it's like, well, I mean, then I think over time people have come to appreciate that movie a lot more. Out of Christopher Nolan's filmography, a lot more people look at that movie higher now. But yeah, I mean, that's just an observation. Pairing's a little bit different. Looks at the movie in a different. I'm focused on something else. So, but yeah, Altered States, interesting film. Yeah, can't wait to talk about the pairing.
All right.
Back to you. What is your pairing?
Yeah, I struggled
This is
literally
going to be a
all
hard
the
one.
way. Yeah, I struggled all the way up until like 10 minutes before we went live. And then I ended up just going with the most basic, easiest pairing that I could possibly think of. Because I
Basic,
think I just got to the point where I was overthinking it too much. I was
basic
just going
bitch.
down rabbit holes and just trying to grasp at straws to really get something unique to try to impress people with my big brain. Look at the big brain on Brett.
Oh,
Um,
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction reference, but I decided to pick Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho because of the mother son dynamic that is in Santa Sangre, how powerful it is, how ethereal it is, how supernatural it is, how psychotic it is.
Hmm.
And that's the main connection I grasp between the two. Both, Norman Bates and the character in Santa Sangre, whose name is completely blanking on me right now. I don't know why. But either way, they have this incredibly powerful relationship with their mother, um, that makes them do anything, including commit murder and stuff like that. I mean, in Santa Sangre, there are certain reasons why. It's some part of it is based on the motive of revenge. In Psycho, it's mostly based off of so many things, but kind of impulse in the moment, jealousy and rage and all kinds of stuff. There's a lot going on in this. And yeah, that's why I picked Psycho. And even in Santa Sangre, there they start developing a mother-son act where the son becomes her hands,
Mm,
where she no longer has arms, so the son becomes her arms. And it's definitely dead on, like he's the one acting out her wishes.
yeah.
And it's fascinating how integral that is to the movie. And in Psycho, I mean, spoiler alert for a movie from 1960 that's been a cultural staple for the last forever many years, 70 years. um Norman dressing up like his mother to commit these acts of crime, literally becoming his mother. um and yeah, it's interesting how these two movies are connected with that whole weird mother-son relationship that we've seen throughout a lot of weird horror movies over the decades. They keep going back to that whole Oedipus thing over and over again throughout horror and stuff like that. And they they have great success with it, I guess, because it's so psychologically weird and odd. But Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is coincidentally also the movie I watch every year on Halloween too. So that's why it was on the brain this whole time. Plus, there's that Ryan Murphy Ed Gein series that's on Netflix right now. Of course, Ed Gein being the inspiration for Norman Bates, in the for the book Norman Bates, and then of course for the movie adaptation of the book and all that kind of stuff. Ironically, Anthony Perkins looks absolutely nothing like both the book Norman Bates and the real life inspired inspiration Ed Gein. Interesting
Yeah.
how Hitchcock switched that up completely, which he was known to do throughout his career. So that was my easy pairing. There are so many other things you can do with Santa Sangre for a pairing because the movie is a mishmash of so many different elements that you could have gone. I was thinking of Robert Altman's Three Women. I was thinking of House, the movie House. There's even, what movie kept coming up all the time on every list I saw that was connected with this? Antichrist, the Lars von Trier movie. And basically every surreal movie you could possibly think of, even some certain giallo films were in here as well. And which, because this movie does have a kind of a giallo type style when it comes to the murders and stuff like that. And yeah, there's just so much in this movie that I got into way more than I thought I was with this. But yeah, I went with Psycho. I went with the easiest one. The direct mother son connection, murder, etc., etc. Surface level stuff. But
Yeah.
oh, I hate myself for it.
Yeah, you don't have to, man. I mean, it's
Eh,
it's two good movies, so it didn't really matter what you decide to focus on. There's endless amounts of pairings for movies. So, all right. So I would say, you're over there complaining about how easy yours is. I would say, in a way, mine feels like a pretty easy matchup for me. There are other films that I think people tend to go to before they go to the one I do, like, The Fly, or, them are some easy ones. Maybe this is an easy one. I kind of think it is, but it's the one that I felt like was the best pairing for me as the viewer of this for Altered States for the first time, because it takes kind of the idea of Altered States, and it amps it up crazy to like 11, and gets what I kind of want out of something like this. So I went with Stuart Gordon's From Beyond.
Good one.
Yeah. Because, in this film, you get the resonator, which is this machine that they find that essentially helps anybody in contact with it. The vibrations, it opens up your brain to the perception of other realities, the alternate universes, whatever you want to call it. And in them universes are these weird creatures that come out, and they have weird third eyes, and they fucking eat you, and it's creepy as fuck. And yeah, I mean, and along with that, the movie's hilarious too. You got Ken how you say it, Foree, plays a cop, Bubba, and yeah, I mean, hit between him and Barbara Crampton, who is horny this whole movie because the resonator is bringing out this like underlying like sexual tension she has the whole movie out. And then of course you got Jeremy Combs as the lead. They're the Reanimator pairing back together again, leading the way and just stressing out the whole time. And yeah, this movie is gross. It's sinister. It's taking it all the way. I think
if you're into body horror, squeamish stuff, definitely From Beyond is your thing. Yeah, that's a great pick. This is the same director as you said, Reanimator, and similar pairings. Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, I think was also in Reanimator. Good pick. Yeah. You could have gone a bunch of different ways, because you could go in with any David Cronenberg movie. It would have worked.
Yeah, Videodrome would have been
Videodrome.
fine.
All of them could have worked.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah,
except for heck, even Crimes of the Future would work. Yeah, that's such a good pairing.
Yeah, I don't got much to say about it. It's just a more.
It's a tough movie to describe, but I think you did it well.
Yeah, it's essentially just a more amped up horror, gross version of Altered States, and it doesn't care anything about the science really. It's just
no, it's more supernatural than anything.
Yeah. I think it's like if Ken Russell could have done anything he wanted to do with Altered States, it would have been closer to this. But the script he had was I mean, he chose to do the movie, but like I feel like what Stuart Gordon did in his movie is more closer to what Ken Russell would do in other movies. Like just kind of bonkers, weird movies. But yeah, I love From Beyond. It's when I first watched it a few years ago, I thought it was so fun, such a fun movie. All right, well, that's our normal programming Unwatched pile. Before we get into the Halloween movie marathon, we got a couple things here from Acre of Movies. Would we rather play Jason or Freddy? Oh, for sure, Freddy. I mean,
Freddy would be the funner role, but you have to But yeah, Jason Voorhees is kind of a stilted performance because you don't really do anything. There's no dialogue.
I mean, if you're being lazy, you play Jason. Yeah, you're just being lazy.
Walking around.
You play Jason. But if you want to be cool, you play Freddy, and you say things like was it in Rick and Morty, where he's just like, they had the Freddy Krueger episode in there, and he says like, bitch. He just says bitch all the time.
Yeah, Scary Terry. That was
Terry, yes,
that was their version of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah, that's a That's one thing I'm missing from my collection is all the Nightmare on Elm Street films. With that 4K set that just came out, it's getting to that point where I need to get them.
Yeah,
I've got the first one, and that's about it.
yeah.
But I've seen a bunch of them. I know that's a
Yeah.
beloved Halloween horror franchise. Um, but yeah, there's some other questions here, Steven. Um, there's that one. Hustler 3, which of course, there was The Hustler, then there was Color of Money. Would you do a third one? I mean, Tom Cruise is still there. He would have to be the mentor,
Yeah,
you
he would
know,
be the
Paul
mentor.
Newman character now.
I think you could. I mean, I think. I mean, you don't see a lot of Poe movies, so I mean, it's like you could do one today, and it would be kind of cool to, you know,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
Pool
not
is
really.
still played amongst people,
Oh,
amongst
it's
young
still
people. It's still a
for
thing.
sure.
Um, to be honest, it's not out of the possibility of ever not happening because we've
No,
seen
it's
Tom
not.
Cruise go back to do another Top Gun movie, and that was what, nearly 4 decades after the first one.
I'd have to watch Color of Money again, but like I think, like any sequel, at least, I mean, at least somebody. I mean, I doubt Scorsese would do a third movie, but like I think whoever would do it,
Be a producer.
you would need a reason to do it. There needs to be like a a, a reason for the Tom Cruise character to want to like do whatever, team up with some young kid or whatever the hell he's doing. So I would say that Caddyshack. No, I don't need any more Caddyshack movies.
Well, Caddyshack 2 is notorious for not being very good, so I
Yeah.
don't know if there's much call for Caddyshack 3. Also, Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, I don't know if they'd ever work together. If you could do wing and make that happen. Um,
I don't even honestly like Caddyshack that much, so I'm not.
Really? You're one of those people who don't like
I am
Caddyshack.
one of the. I don't like Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
I
And
don't.
to
I
be
don't.
honest, not even that big of a Chevy Chase guy myself. But I do like the vacation movies.
Yeah, they're
I do
fun.
like Caddyshack. I'm not a big Fletch guy. People love Fletch and Fletch Lives, and I'm not a big on those movies. I've only seen like the first one once, and I think
Yeah,
maybe the second one once as well. But other than that, yeah, I don't know if they would ever do a Caddyshack 3 at this point.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into our movie Halloween movie marathon. So what we did was both of our marathons start at 7:00 p.m. Now I think what we should do so that we're not confusing people is we should go one
Mm.
at a time. We should go one at a
Yeah, I was
time.
gonna say I didn't know how you wanted to structure it.
Brief,
We
brief,
should have talked
brief,
about it earlier, but who cares?
brief descriptions. We're not going to get super detailed, so this isn't going to be super
No, I
lengthy.
think these are all, at least from my list, these are all movies people know of.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not like obscure. There's no 1920s horror films on here that no one's ever
No.
seen.
My criteria, when I was making mine, to me, I wasn't only thinking about like, oh, these are a bunch of like good, fun horror movies, but like also like the time of the night. Like if you're actually trying to stay up and watch these movies, pick movies that people will actually be able to stay awake for, because you don't want to pick things that are too dry that it's just going to put people to sleep. So
I may have
like,
screwed up on that
yeah,
strategy
I
later with a later movie.
I knew you
Um,
would, because I think you unfortunately were thinking about this marathon more that you would watch it by yourself.
yeah, I have no friends. Steven's
You
my
do.
friend.
You do have friends. You have to pretend that there's a bunch of people coming
Yeah,
over.
I know. But I'm just saying,
But
I'm a solo guy. Like this is maybe there's always this that pops up. Now you're gonna have to reel me in here. People like criticizing other people who go to the movies by themselves, and I'm like,
I love it.
that was the best. I loved it. I love going to the movie by
I
myself.
try my best to get away. Like I
Like
can't.
I hate living by other people's schedules. Like
Yeah.
I hate having to work around other people's schedules. It's a whole big thing, but that's just me personally. So I love doing things by myself because you don't answer to anybody. You can do whatever you want whenever you want. You don't have to like check with anybody or anything. It's beautiful. It's perhaps why I'm notoriously alone. But anywho, we
It's
got to
okay.
start this marathon.
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm just getting out all the because I also brought all the movies with me. I figured why not?
Sure.
They're just on the shelves around me. So I will start off. So right off the bat, I started off not slowish, but like easier viewing stuff everybody's seen before. I started off with the classic Universal monster movie Frankenstein,
Mm.
the original Frankenstein.
So at 7 p.m.
7 p.m. We're sitting down, we're watching Frankenstein,
Mm.
and then
What do you
we're
what
gonna.
do you eat? Are you starting off eating food right at the beginning?
Well,
Like you're gonna go ahead and
I
get
guess
pizza?
bring your food with you. Bring your snacks, popcorn,
Yeah.
candy, sodas, whatever you want to bring with you. Um, hell, you want to eat pizza? Eat pizza. I eat
I would
pizza.
say if
I
you're
eat
gonna
pizza for
eat
dinner tonight. Heck,
I was gonna say if you're
do
gonna
it
eat
all the
some
time.
food, I think right around this movie is when you should just go ahead and eat your heavy stuff.
Yeah,
You
definitely
save the
start
snacks
off
for later. Snacks for later, you know.
snacks for
That's
later. Yeah, definitely eat your pizza, your sandwiches, whatever you got going, because you're gonna be sitting down next, and you're gonna be watching The Bride of Frankenstein. So you're gonna
oh,
go
so
with The Bride
them are
of
your first
Frankenstein.
two movies.
First two movies, one 70 minutes, one is 77 minutes, not long, 1930s movies, easy watches, just to start off the night nice and slow.
So
Um,
when by the time them two movies are done, what time is it?
Jeez.
Oh,
I don't know, what is
you didn't get that detailed?
I didn't get that detailed. I just put so after 70 and 77 is 140, so that is what 2 hours and 20 minutes into. So this you're around what,
Almost
9:40,
9:30.
9:45?
Yeah, 9:30.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
around that time. So then
Yeah.
you take a bathroom break, of course. You know, you
Yeah,
you
sure.
you plow
Yeah.
through this first two. You got all the goods. You got all the food in you. So you take a little intermission. I put them as intermissions. Why not? We're in movie mode pretty much. And so you take your intermission. You go to the bathroom. That's about 15 minutes, right? Figure
Sure. It's a
why not
long
take the usual
if
intermission
if
15 minutes.
if it's a poop. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you might as well. You got to stretch. You got to stretch. So then you go with. Let me see if I have it here. Let's see. Bum. I think it's in the first one. I gotta. So
Andrew's
I
not
want
as
to go. I
Andrew's
want to
not
go
as
with
organized
young.
as I am.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I'm trying to look through something I haven't looked through in years, which is the Mel Brooks collection, and I want to go with Young Frankenstein.
Mm.
That's what I want to go with next.
You're
Is
keeping
Young
it
Frankenstein.
very, like, in that realm.
Right.
Is that your theme of, like, just, like, classic-y kind of
I thought
horror movies? Oh,
Well, I
gee.
wanted to. I felt like you start off classic, and then you go with something that
Mhm.
people reference. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So you need to watch Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein in order to appreciate how great um,
Young Frankenstein is.
Young Frankenstein is. For some reason, I thought I had Young Frankenstein in this collection, but it is not in here. There it is. Yeah, I'm crazy. So there you've got Young Frankenstein over here. So
Yeah.
you've got Young Frankenstein. Because it's classic Mel Brooks. It's light. It's nice. You get the reference already because you've seen Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein. That's the good stuff. And then after that, you stick it in the comedy realm. A little light comedy, but it gets a little darker, a little weirder, a little
Mm,
Sam Raimi-ish, if you will,
mm,
with Evil Dead 2.
mm.
Mm. So you go from little wacky Mel Brooks to somewhat wacky, but also dark and
Yeah.
bloody with Sam Raimi. And then, of course, after Sam Raimi, let me see, you take a little break after this. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
you're just going through all the stuff, but you can't not watch the continuation of the whole Evil Dead with
Jeez.
Army of Darkness.
Oh,
So you
man.
go, so you go from Evil Dead 2, because at the end of Evil Dead 2, for those of you who haven't seen it, a little bit of a cliffhanger, and you gotta close that cliffhanger. So you go with Evil Dead 2, great horror comedy. It's the director's cut. You go with the director's cut. It's 96 minutes long. So these are all like kind of shorter films, if you will.
Well, I think that's
Young
what
Frank.
you do. It's what you try to do in a marathon like
Yeah,
this, 'cause you don't wanna overstay your welcome with something, and then you wanna add more movies in. You don't wanna
yeah,
have too many you wanna have, like, as many movies as possible in this night, so
yeah. And so obviously by this point, oh goodness,
it's
you're
probably close to
definitely
3.
past midnight, right?
Well, it's way past midnight. It's like
Yeah,
2 or
you're
3
way
in the
past
morning.
midnight because after the first two films, you're in the 9:30, 9:40 realm, and then you just plowed through,
It's
Young
probably like 2.
Frankenstein, which was an hour and 46 minutes. So now you get to close to 11. You're a little past 11, and then you just watched Evil Dead, which is 84 minutes. You had a little intermission in between. Gotta rest up, go to the bathroom. Then you did Army of Darkness, which is an hour and a half. So you're like 1:30, 2 a.m. pretty much.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in that realm.
This is
So
why I did it. This is why I timed it out. You
now
don't even
this
know.
has been you have an then I want to do another intermission after Army of Darkness because I need you to like re-wake yourself up because we're gonna slow things down a little bit. And this is when I may have screwed up. Night of the Living Dead. Night
Yeah,
of the Living Dead.
I tried to figure out how to get that in there, but I was like, you know what? Like, as much as I like that movie, I don't think a whole
Yeah.
crowd of people might be awake enough. You'd have to put this near the beginning.
Yeah, that was the whole thing is at this point I wanted to do like because I wanted something to pair up nicely with Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. So I was
That was the
thinking
other thing.
of
That was the other thing too. Is I already have zombie stuff, and I didn't want to add more zombie stuff. I was like,
right.
I want to have a variety in here. So yeah.
Yeah, I needed a transition and I couldn't squeeze in a transition to Night of the Living Dead. You could swap this out with Dawn of the Dead, or maybe even if you want to, you could have swapped it out with Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder film, which is definitely more,
Still good.
there's more action, more energy in that movie than there because Dawn of the Dead is actually like a 2-hour film, depending on
Yeah.
which cut you watch. There's like 3 or 4 cuts of that movie.
Wonder
And
why.
so
Zack Snyder.
yeah,
That's why.
well, I was talking about the Dawn
Oh,
of the
you
Dead
mean
from
the
the
oh, you mean the
70s.
you mean the old one? Okay, I'm sorry. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the original, there's like in that box set that I know, the Second Sight one, I think
it's
you get
got
all
like
the
3
cuts.
cuts. It's like 3
Yeah, it's
cuts.
got like 3 cuts. So, you got Night of the Living Dead, which is an all-time classic. So I figured you stay in the classic world, you stay in the classic realm, and that'll bring you to heck, your 4 a.m., another hour and a half, you're around 5:30, and you bring it all on home with the ultimate Halloween classic in Halloween. You can't end the Halloween marathon without the movie
I knew
Halloween.
there was no way you were not gonna put Halloween on this
Yeah, so
marathon.
this I watch every single year on Halloween. So I figured, you ended with that 91 minutes, I believe was the runtime. Yeah, 91 minutes, classic. Michael Myers introduction, Jamie Lee Curtis, John Carpenter. You follow up. You know, Sam. Oh, these are all classic directors. James Whale to Sam Raimi to John Carpenter to George A. Romero, and then you end it with John Carpenter. So it's a little
Yeah.
little classic run there for your movie marathon. That'll give you around 11 or so hours, maybe a little bit past. So that does give you a little bit more room just in case anything happens along the way. You got to take a little extra breaks here and there. People got to get up and go to the bathroom because they can't hold it. I understand. So yeah, that's my movie marathon.
Are you gonna do that tonight?
Probably not. I don't think that's gonna be my road
Jeez,
tonight.
damn.
I mean,
He
I
don't even
could
take his
do
own
it.
suggestion. Jeez.
By
You
the
didn't
time I
believe?
started, I wouldn't end till 9 a.m. or
Does that really matter?
no, later than that. I was
All
thinking
right.
if I started at 11, I won't end till 11 tomorrow. No, 11 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's probably a little late to start that one. All right. Well, awesome, man. Well, I'm a little surprised there wasn't more variety. I was expecting like more variety. You kind of
Well,
like
I
that.
wanted to make them all kind of connect into one another, like a
Sure.
curation.
Hey,
So
that's
I
fine. Yeah.
couldn't throw. What's crazy is I initially had a couple of more in there that I had to cut out for time. I
Yeah.
wanted to start off with actual animation. I wanted to start off with
I,
him.
yeah.
It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and a Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. But
Yeah.
I ended up having to cut those for time.
Yeah. I almost did that as well. I actually almost because the way I structured this is as at the beginning. I thought about like, what if I have my kid's up or somebody else brought a kid who's coming but isn't going to stay that late. And so it was like, well, how about we start off with an animation like Paranorman or something like
Mm.
that is a good. That's not where I went. I decided not to go quite. I wanted to, but I wanted to make sure certain movies got in the list. So, all right. So starting, mine's way more detailed. 7 o'clock. From 7 o'clock p.m. to 8:32 p.m. We're gonna start this night off with Beetlejuice. To me,
Nice. That's
classic.
light.
Like
Yeah.
it's light. Kids can watch it. It is kind of like got some dark shit in there, but like I watched it as a kid. Didn't mess me up too much. So I think that's a good light beginning. Short hour, essentially hour and a half movie, and it's just it's a classic one. It's a good one. And then you get, between each movie, I give little breaks. So like it ends at 8:32. So starting at 8:45 p.m., we start. We keep it in the Halloween realm, but we go definitely more rated R here with Trick or Treat, the anthology Halloween film from 2007, where you get like 4 different stories that kind of weave together. And then you get kind of like the personification of Halloween, which is this little pumpkin head kid that pops up in there. And yeah, I mean, you get a werewolf story in there. Yeah, werewolf story in there. You get all different. You get a ghost story in there. It's fun. I love that movie. I got sorry, I meant to be showing these off. Here's Beetlejuice. I got this Beetlejuice edition here with the
nice. Is that
recently
the Book of the Dead?
Recently deceased.
Oh, okay.
Handbook. And then here's Trick or Treat. There.
That's the Arrow edition.
Arrow edition 4K.
Nice.
Arrow edition 4K. And then this is now we definitely start. Now this is for me and Andrew. This is a classic for us. Starting at that Trick or Treat will end about a little after 10:07. Starting at 10:15, we get the Robert Rodriguez classic, The Faculty.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and it ends right around midnight, right before midnight. So yeah, The Faculty. Of course, now you're getting into like aliens. Alien horror film, high school
invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, essentially, and it is kind of. I mean, it's rated R, but it's kind of light. It's kind of light for a rated R movie, I think. But it's fun. Big cast, a lot of recognizable faces. Kevin Williamson, of course, you get the Dawson's Creek for me, reference. So yeah. So right around midnight, we finish with The Faculty there. And then this is where it starts to get really fun. I match you with this one, my good sir. And I don't own this for some reason, but Evil Dead 2.
I'm surprised you didn't a DVD of that.
It's one of them. I think I had a DVD, but I think I might have given it to my parents or something. Like I was like, I'm going to buy these again. And I've just never gotten around to buying them again. So, but Evil Dead 2, I'm with you. Evil Dead 2 is the one, like, yeah, Evil Dead's fine, but Evil Dead 2 is like a better version of this movie.
For anyone who's never seen Evil Dead 2, they basically recap the first movie and redo it in like the first part of the movie. Like there's a whole story behind it where they actually didn't have the rights to Evil Dead, so they essentially had to redo it again, just better with more of a budget for Evil Dead 2.
Yeah. So and then the movie's just way kookier, way more fun.
Yeah, Evil Dead is a straight horror film. Evil Dead 2 is horror comedy.
Yeah. So and that's where you get the classic chainsaw hand. That's where it's all at right there. Right at midnight, it ends, or it's only about an hour. It's about an hour and a half, like you said. Ends at 1:34 in the morning, and then at 1:45 a.m. This is where I get some. This is where it gets really fun. Where did I set it? Here it is. I got movies everywhere. It's starting to act like Andrew over here.
It's chaos over here.
This is my favorite part of the night because this is a movie I really love. And it's joined in general, just one of my favorite movies to watch. Psycho Gorman.
Oh, nice.
And you need a movie. You're getting late at night. It's getting late. People start to get tired. You need a movie like this to fucking wake you up. Funny as hell. Awesome practical effects. Just and crazy shit. Like there's a guy, the guy's like, please don't kill me. He's like, I'll do anything. And then he like makes him live forever. He just like is like frozen and his eyes keep rolling back in his head. And he's like making him live. He's like just torturing this guy. And then like the kid like knocks him over and he like just explodes. And he's like, thank you. And he's still alive. Just crazy shit. I love this movie. I can watch this movie over and over. But it's the perfect movie in the middle of the night. You won't get tired. Even if you're tired, you're still going to watch it. But it ends around 3:20 in the morning. And 10 minutes later, this is the one I would say is similar to your Night of the Living Dead, where you're like, oh, is this too slow for this time of the morning? And I would say maybe it is, but I'm going for more that this movie at this time of the morning, 3:30 in the morning, is the perfect time to watch it because it's what's going to make this movie scary as shit. And that is The Strangers.
Ooh, wow.
You're in your house, it's dark outside, it's pitch dark, quiet, and you put The Strangers on. You know, maybe a few people have already left or they're asleep and it's just you and a few people awake and you're watching The Strangers, which is a home invasion film, and it's just very just quiet and just feels like a real, like this could happen to you. And so I just think that maybe it'll just jolt the people that are still awake that are watching these movies. It'll jolt them awake because they're just like, fuck, like looking outside the window, like any sound that happens, you're like, shit, you know, like, so this one will wake you up just because it scares you a little bit, get the adrenaline going. This movie ends right around almost 5 o'clock in the morning. So we got one more movie. Real. I mean, I could maybe fit two if I make them short enough, but I decided to just cap it out here. And I went with classic, to me, one of the classic slashers. And I, once again, went with the sequel. I decided not to go with the first movie. I decided to go with the second film because I personally like it a little more. And that is Scream 2.
Oh.
I like Scream 2. I know Scream 1 is a classic. I love it. But Scream 2 is a lot more referential to like the horror genre. You know, a lot more talk. They're in college now. A lot more talk about like, you know, there's that whole classroom scene where they're just talking about how sequels suck. Horror sequels suck, and they're just talking about what they do wrong and shit. I just really love that movie all around, in the twist and everything. With who's the killer, and I've always had a fondness for the second film over the first film, and you know, it would be nice to end the marathon with a film that kind of references horror films in general, you know, about what came before it. So that's how I end my night. That's how I end my marathon with Scream 2.
Nice,
and that's it.
Nice.
Yeah, 12 hours later. So yeah. I wish I could actually do this marathon, but it's not one that I can actually do. It's just a hypothetical fantasy situation for me. But if anybody else wants to do it, please let me know. If anybody likes this marathon, either one of our marathons here, and they've tried it out, you got to let us know how it went. So, yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, that threw me for a little bit of a loop with Scream 2. Ironically, they just dropped the Scream 7 trailer today.
I did see that. Yeah.
So I mean, your timing is quite great.
They got Nev Campbell to come back, and you know, I don't know what they're going for quite yet, but like it's, you know, because every Scream movie's trying to comment on horror films in another way, and so now, you know, now that they got her back. And it seems like by the trailer that it's like a very self-contained movie for the most part. It feels very intimate. It didn't feel like it's too broad. Like there isn't too many characters. There's her and like her daughter, and Courtney Cox comes back apparently. And like, I don't know. It feels very familiar. So I don't know exactly, because I mean, in this version, it looks like whoever the Scream killer is, he's the Ghostface is like invincible. I guess that's what they're commenting on, is like the invincible killer that just won't die. I don't know.
I mean, all the classics are pretty much that.
They
I mean,
just
Mike
don't
Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger.
But didn't they kind of do that already in like Scream 5 or say like where like he was like super violent and like over the top? They kind of already did that, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, they've done it in all the movies. I mean,
well, all of
much
them are
all of them.
violent, but what I'm saying is there was a specific sequel where they like made him super violent, like he was like over the top violent. And I feel like that's kind of what they're doing here. I maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I remember
I don't
remember
yeah.
a scene in a convenience store that was like super violent, like over the top.
Yeah, and I feel like they're very much making this feel like a legacy type of movie. Like this idea of, you know, Nev Campbell's character is fighting her greatest foe once again, perhaps for the last time, you know,
Maybe
coming
it's
full circle.
maybe it's kind of like when they brought back Halloween
I
and
would
they
say
brought
a lot of people are saying that it feels like Halloween from 2018.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
kind of, if you watch the trailer, that's the vibe I'm getting.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, maybe.
they even have a daughter character, which they
So
had in that too.
essentially, they're commenting on reboot sequels.
Could be legacy
Yeah,
sequel, horror legacy
Lego.
sequels.
Yeah, maybe that's what they're going for. But I'm here for it. I think the Scream franchise is one of the most consistent. They're not all good, but they're always entertaining in some way. I find so. I'm always down for another Scream movie. But that is it. That is it for this Unwatched Pile special Halloween marathon episode. We hope you enjoyed our lists here, and we hope you guys have a safe and happy Halloween tomorrow. And of course, we'll be back next month with another Unwatched Pile. And Andrew will be back on Chasing Labels, I believe, next Monday, right?
It will be.
Or
Let's
is it 2
see.
Mondays? I'm forgetting when you were on. No, that
I
was this.
just did one. I just
So
did one on this past Monday.
yeah, so you
So
got two
this coming
weeks.
Monday will be the 3rd, which there will not be Chasing Labels, and there will be one on the 10th.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That will be the
and
next Chasing Labels episode. Of course, we will have other things here as well.
sure,
Movies down memory lane. There will be an episode of
next
that
Saturday.
before then.
Yeah,
Um, and another on Watch Pile next month, and perhaps other things. Who knows?
yeah.
Kind of
Who knows?
random,
Well,
kind of
what
great.
we do have. I mean, it hasn't been officially announced because it isn't like completely ready to be announced. But like we are, Movie Mutation episode 1 will be November 16th. So we do
Okay,
got a
so that's
couple more
coming
weeks.
next month as well.
Couple more weeks till that premieres. So, all right. Well, that is it for this episode. And what are you doing still here? You should be going and starting you're really late for your movie marathon, your Halloween.
Go
I mean,
start watching your horror movies
yeah,
and
please, God,
go crazy.
go
Eat a
crazy.
bunch of candy if you can.
Can't do it anymore, man. It goes right to the gut.
I know.
See ya.